Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Hopefully you guys are all having a wonderful day. Today's upload is going to be a September forecast outlook. Should have been done earlier, should have been done at the beginning of September 1st, even at the end of August. However, things got in the way and I'm still hopeful this video will do you guys some good since it is only September 10th as I'm uploading this video. So, hopefully you enjoyed. If you like this type, hopefully you will enjoy. If you like these type of videos, you could consider subscribing to my channel. It helps out a lot. It is, it is free for you, and it's a win-win situation. So if you're an old returning member, consider subscribing if you haven't subscribed yet. If you're new, check out my channel, and then you could consider subscribing. So let's get into this. So we'll be looking at a couple of factors. We'll be looking at my forecast for the forecast for my location and seeing whether it's below or above average based off previous years. We're going to be looking at the maps, deciding whether it is above or below average in temperatures and rain. And we'll be also looking at Climate Prediction Center and a little bit of the El Nino Modokai involved, or the neutral. So a little bit of the ENSO also involved into this. So there's going to be a couple of factors, and let's just get into this. So this is September 9th, actually, as this model is running, and we go to 00. Let's just quickly go to 00. And we'd run this through, and you could see that a lot of below average conditions for much of the eastern half of the country, but that quickly fades away, and it does look like if parts of the northwestern Pacific Northwest are going to be a little bit below average in terms of temperatures, but a lot of the south, basically 90% or 70, 80, 90% of the country is going to be above average at some point during next mid-week, this week to next Saturday. And then you can see right there that's potential landfalling Hurricane Florence as a Category 4. And then we look at the temperatures, so a lot of precip along the eastern coast. You could see much above average across northern parts of upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, areas like that. And what we start realizing is this pattern change that starts occurring around mid-September. And this is what I was talking about in my previous video. I think it was titled Fall Pattern Change, something along that. It was like made 2 days ago or yesterday. And you can see that there's going to be quite a bit of chilly air stored up to the north, and that could bring a lot of first frost and even some first snow to parts of Canada, first frost to parts of the United States, and that really does stick around there for a little bit, for quite a while actually, out there in Canada and northern parts of the United States. But then things slightly moderate towards the end of next week. Not this week, next week. And then, again, we could get some cooler temperatures. So it's kind of like a mix back and forth. So that just gives you a better idea of when and where we could expect some cooler temperatures. Then we go to, let's go to the MSLP and precip. So this basically shows you how heavy the rain is falling and when. So right now we're seeing some wet conditions across the eastern half of the country with Tropical Storm Gordon. That passes through, or ex-Tropical Storm Gordon. It was a tropical storm. And then we have Hurricane Florence impacting parts of the United States coast. So that will bring lots of rain there. And then as I was showing, you could see some snowflakes flying around the northern tier of the United States, and definitely some first frost. And that seems to back off the cold, and you can see some warmer temperatures come back, marked by most of the green precip, which is in rain form. And overall, not terribly too above average across the mid part of the country. If we go to total accumulated precip, you can see just a mother load of rain across this portion of eastern mid-Atlantic region and southeastern-ish portions of the country. But really what we need to focus on is the southwest, really seeing a lot of rain, anywhere from Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Arizona, and northern parts of Mexico, actually seeing a lot of rain. So that's going to contribute to a above average rainy September. And then you can see right here, California, Nevada, basically bone dry, no rain, and hot. So that's not really good news for the drought, but that is what's forecasted through much of September. And then in the Pacific Northwest, also dry but a little bit cooler. So if we now go to the Climate Prediction Center 8 to 14 day outlook, so you can see they're showing this is about 8 to 14 days out, so valid from September 17th through September 23rd, and you can see that above average in the Four Corners state area, the southwest, the south, and up the east coast. However, neutral conditions develop, even some below average conditions, and I think they will start emphasizing the below average more and more as we get closer to that time frame. For the areas like Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, North Dakota, South Dakota, areas like that, Montana, and just basically anywhere across the northern part of the country northern half should see below or at least average conditions compared to the south, where they will be seeing above average conditions. If we go to the precip probability, you can see that there is below average for parts of the west, and then above average for lots of the northern part of the country, and then above average precip in terms of, above average precip in terms of rain across much of the south and southeastern and then northeastern portions of the country. So now we go to 6 to 10 day outlook. You could see that this is anywhere from September 15th through 19th. You could see that this is a little bit closer, 6 to 10 day outlook. So that is not 8 to 14. This is a little bit closer, 15 to 19. So you could see still above average conditions for much of the country, below average conditions for the northwest, and below average conditions for the southwest, and above average conditions for the north, and again similar areas up the east, southeast, and into southern portions of the country. So you may be wondering why was I showing above average precip for this area when it's showing below average in why NOAA is showing below average. Well, a lot of this rain will fall in the time frame that is basically not included in these forecasts. It's going to be falling outside of it. It's going to be falling around late September, and that's why these forecasts are picking up as below average precip for these parts, even though it will be above, but a little bit later on in the season, or in September, a little bit later on in September. So I would also like to look at a little bit of more of a pattern-based factor into this video. So what I took was a couple of years where there were neutral conditions in the equatorial Pacific, as there's right now. There's neutral conditions, and for September I took 2012, 2013, 2014, 2008, and compiled those years for surface temperature anomalies across the United States. And as you could see that it's really terribly nothing too impressive in terms of below or above. It's average for a lot of the country in terms of temperatures, and it's slightly above average in terms of temperatures for these. I don't know how you even describe this. The western part of the country is the best way to say this, and it's like these two little dips basically that dip into the country. And again, will this September be like this? Maybe not, but just gives you a little bit of historical background what these Septembers are prone to, and I do think we will be seeing something similar. Very just nothing too special in terms of temperatures. I think we might be on the cooler side for some locations and warmer side for other locations, so it'll be just like a battle zone on overall, but in some it depends basically on where you are and where you're located. If we go to my area where I live and we go to check out like the temperature outlook, so I know the average for my area, and what we have right here is below average conditions for basically 2 nights. Today was way below average, and tomorrow, and then through September, I would say 16th, 15th, so midway through September, above average conditions, and then afterwards below average conditions. We should not be seeing 68, 69 degree temperatures in mid-September to late September. It's a little bit below average. Nothing too terribly below average, but a bit below average. So, hopefully, if you didn't catch along with all of this information I was pointing out, it's okay. I made this final map of my September forecast, which I'm about to show you right now, and this is basically what I think will be shaping up across much of the country during September. So let's work our way from the east to the west. So the northeast, as pointed out by the warmer than average temperatures and the cold, won't really get there that much. So I think it'll be slightly warmer than average across the east, the very part, basically New England, northeastern part of the United States, a true northeast. I think it'll just be slightly warmer, nothing too hot, but I think slightly warmer than average as well is a well-placed guess. And then we go to the southeast mid-Atlantic area. That is the main factor that I think we'll be taking away from this area is above average rainfall due to tropical or Hurricane Florence and its impacts, and also during a neutral pattern there could be several storm tracks other than Florence that could be coming up here. Not even tropical, just regular storms that could be producing above average rainfall. If we go to the bluish areas, I think the main takeaway will be slightly cooler than average for at least the remaining part of September. Then we go down to the yellow zone, and that is just a battle zone. Between these locations, I didn't really know how to simplify this. I didn't want to include the cooler than average because I don't think it would be really noticeable as cooler. It could be a mixture of all these three here: slightly warmer, slightly cooler, and much above average rainfall, basically for this location. So somewhere between those three, and that's basically what you take away from the battle zone. Battle between these three areas. That's literally what it means. We work for this area much above average rainfall in this turquoise color. And the reason for that is there could be some tropical activity coming from the Gulf of Mexico, especially the southern parts of this area should be receiving quite a bit of rainfall, and then the western portions should be receiving quite a bit of rainfall. These locations could also be receiving quite a bit of rainfall, but that is more to do with the tropical storm Florence and a couple of storms coming off the east. So we move on to this spot, this color, which is orange, and this is exactly the same as right here. Slightly warmer than average, could be some early mountain snow, and there was already some early mountain snow, and that's basically around average. Should be maybe a little bit mountain snow that should be delayed, but in terms of huge snowstorms, I don't think so. We'll just need to wait and see. If we go to the southwest, bone dry and hot for a lot of these locations. Here, like I pointed out by that one graphic on Tropical Tidbits, it was basically no precip, just white color, meaning absolutely no rainfall. And then I indicated these Cascade Mountains here in Washington and Oregon to be cooler than average. Not slightly cooler, I think they'll be fairly cooler than average for a lot of September. I think that'll be the main takeaway there. And you look down towards Alaska, you may be wondering, will they be bone dry? No, even though they're the same color, I think they'll just be way above average. They should have a little bit more precip than parts of Nevada and California for sure. And then as we move on closer out or farther out inland, you have this color of orange, and that is slightly warmer than average. And in Hawaii, I think a lot of tropical activity, I think, will be fairly above average in terms of rainfall. So that is basically it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you learned something new about this upcoming September. And I'll see you all guys in the next episode.